Hi there, how are you doing? If you want to make this delicious meal that has cassava, pan-fried pork, and amaranthus leaves, watch this video. So for our protein, we are going to have a pork wet fry. For that, we need some fresh pork. As you can see, if you can have the skin taken off, that's even better. Mine still has the skin on. We have some vegetables, so carrots, onions, tomatoes, green bell pepper, and a bit of garlic. First off, we'll wash our pork. You can wash it twice if you think it needs it. Then we'll place it in a pan immediately after washing and cover it. Place that on our stove and let it cook. Meanwhile, we will be chopping up our vegetables. We'll also crush our garlic. So our pork produces a bit of its own water as it cooks. I added some salt and gave that a mix so that all the pork is coated with the salt. So we'll let this cook until all the water evaporates. It took me about 15 minutes. The pork produces its own oil, so I allowed it to cook in its oil until it turned brown. That took about 10 to 12 minutes. So since there is a lot of cooking oil, I drained out some of the oil. And at this point, I added some onions and cooked that until the onions were soft and well done, which took about 4 minutes. There we have our onions well done, a bit browned on the edges. And then I added some tomatoes, the green bell peppers, the carrots, and a little bit of garlic. So I kept cooking that and mixing it up in the pan. It took about 8 minutes for the tomatoes to be cooked down and soft, and the carrots as well. At this point, I added some Royco powder. I mixed it up with a bit of water. And then added it to my sauce. I let that cook for about 3 more minutes. So after a total of about 50 minutes cook time, here is my sauce all ready. My pork wet fry. For my carbohydrates, I had some cassava. I got this from the market. I peeled it and washed it and then added some water to boil it. I also added a little bit of salt. This is optional as well. I set it on the stove to boil, and there it is boiling on the stove. And it took about 30 minutes. And I checked it with a knife, and the knife could go right through it, and it was done. For our vegetables, we had some amaranthus leaves. This is commonly called dodo or machicha in different languages around Uganda. So I picked my vegetables, I broke off the hard stem and used only the leaves and the softer parts of the stems or the leaf stalks. So after picking the vegetables, I washed them thoroughly. You can wash this twice because greens normally have some soil on them. After that, I chopped up my greens, my amaranthus leaves. And then I placed them in a saucepan immediately. I added some onions and some tomatoes. I did not add any extra water, but a bit of the water that was used to wash it formed up. So it cooked up, and when it had reduced in size, I added some salt and kept turning it and allowed it to cook. After about 10 minutes, our greens were all done as well. So it's time to serve up our food. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to have a good portion of protein, in this case our pork wet fry. Then I added a good portion of greens and then a bit of cassava. A rule of thumb, have your carbohydrate source be about fist size, and then have a third of your plate filled with green vegetables and a third of your plate filled with your protein source. So there you have it, a healthy meal that's good if you're trying to lose weight or maintain your current weight, and you can have a lot of vitamins from the green vegetables. You have your protein and fat. Some people have fat-based diets, and the pork wet fry will do well for you. Our vegetables and our carbohydrates are boiled because the pork is really fatty. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, and tell me how you like to make your pork. Bye.